My great-grandfather traveled the world his entire life. I have all his old photos and journals, and I always thought he was just an adventurer. Maybe a treasure hunter or something. A collector of rare, beautiful things. But I was wrong. I was so wrong. After he passed away a few months ago, I received this. It came in a plain little box from his lawyer. There was no big, dramatic reading of the will, just this. An old, heavy iron key and a single yellowed note folded into a tiny square. The note, it just says, "The legacy is now yours. The cycle must be upheld. Light the way and do not break the seals. The key opens the beginning. The rest you must earn. Burn this." I was told to burn it. I get it, this sounds like the start of some crazy movie, but I can't, because this key, it feels like it weighs 1,000 pounds. It doesn't look like a key for a door or a safety deposit box. It's old, ancient maybe. And the note, "The cycle must be upheld. Do not break the seals." What seals? What cycle? I've spent weeks just turning this over and over in my head. I thought I knew him, Arthur Pendleton, the quiet man who would disappear for months and come back with crates of artifacts and eyes that had seen... Well, I have no idea what they'd seen. I thought he was just an eccentric old man. Wealthy, but quiet about it. He lived in this very house, surrounded by history, but he never really talked about it. But I think I know what this key opens. There's one place I haven't looked. One place that's been untouched since he passed. And I have a feeling that whatever is in there is going to change everything I thought I knew about my family. And maybe reality itself. So you need to understand who my great-grandfather was. Or who I thought he was. Arthur Pendleton wasn't your typical old man. He was timeless. Even in his 90s, there was a kind of energy about him that was almost unsettling. His study, where I am right now, feels more like a museum archive than a room in a house. Most of it has been packed up by the estate, but I kept a few things. This is a photo of him from the 50s, somewhere in the Peruvian Andes. He's at the entrance to a tomb, and he's not smiling. He's just watching. Here's another from the 70s, on a boat in a crazy storm. The location just marked as north of 60. And here, one of the last photos of him, in a desert at sunset, holding some weird metal object I've never been able to identify. He was an archaeologist, a historian, a traveler. That's the official story. He made a fortune, not from a business, but from what his lawyer vaguely called private acquisitions and consultations. He would just vanish for months, sometimes years. No contact, no postcards. He'd leave, and then he'd come back, always with more crates, more books in languages I didn't recognize, and an even deeper silence. When he was home, he was like a ghost in his own house. He'd spend all his time in this study, or in the giant winding basement below. He never talked about his travels. If I asked, he'd just give me this sad, distant smile and say, "Some places are best left undisturbed." I used to think he was just being poetic. Now, I'm not so sure. His death was as quiet as his life. Natural causes in his sleep. The inheritance was handled in this very clean, almost cold way. The house was left to me, his only living direct descendant. His collections were all left to museums, prearranged. The money was put in a trust. It was all so sterile. Except for that one little box. The one with the key and the note. The key opens the beginning. For the past month, I've been going nuts. I tried this key on every lock in the house, every diary, every chest, every single cabinet. Nothing. It's this ridiculously unique shape, a complex piece of metal that doesn't fit any lock I've ever seen. I was starting to think it was a joke, one last cryptic puzzle from a man who loved them. But the weight of it, the feeling I get when I hold it, this isn't a joke. I've been living here, surrounded by the echoes of a life I knew nothing about. I've read his public journals, the ones filled with dry notes about dig sites and history. They're interesting, but they feel like a performance. They don't contain the man who wrote that note. They don't explain the feeling of dread and destiny that came with that key. There's one place left, a place I've been putting off. The attic is just an attic, dust and old furniture. But the basement, Arthur called it the workshop. It's a maze of brick and stone, part of the original foundation that he expanded over the years. It's cold, dark, and honestly, it always scared me, even when I was a kid. He kept it locked. Always. And I haven't been down there since the house was cleared out. I think the lock isn't on a box. It's for a place he didn't want anyone else to find. The note said the key opens the beginning. And for Arthur, all his real work started in his workshop. I've been dreading this. It feels final. But I can't live with not knowing. I have to see what he was hiding. This is the door to the basement, the workshop. It's heavy oak, reinforced with iron bands. It's always had a modern deadbolt on it, which the locksmiths had to drill out. But that's not what I'm looking at. Down here, near the floor, almost hidden by the door frame, is another lock. It's not modern at all. It's an old black iron plate with a keyhole that perfectly matches the weird shape of the key. I've walked past this door 1,000 times and never ever saw this. It was designed to be overlooked. Okay, here goes. My hand is shaking. I can't believe I'm doing this. The key slides in. A perfect fit. It feels like it was made yesterday, not decades ago. No resistance, just a smooth, solid feeling. Now to turn it. It's stiff. I have to use both hands. And there's a sound. A deep, heavy thud that echoes from the other side. Not a click. That was the sound of a heavy bar being thrown. The door swings inward on its own, just an inch, and a gust of air rushes out. It's cold, and it smells clean, not like a musty basement. It smells like stone after rain and ozone, like the air right after a lightning strike. The light from the hall barely cuts through the darkness. I need a flashlight. Okay. The stairs just lead down into black. I'm going down. Every step creaks, but the sound is just swallowed by the silence. It's getting colder. Down here, this isn't what I expected. It's not a dusty workshop, it's a vault. The walls are smooth, dark stone that I don't recognize. There are no shelves, no tables. The room is huge, way bigger than the footprint of the house above. How is that even possible? And in the very center of the room, on a raised stone platform, is a chest. It's not some pirate treasure chest. It's plain, brutally plain. About 4 feet long, made of a dark, almost black wood, with simple iron straps. No carvings, nothing. It was built for function, not looks. And on the front, there's a single large iron lock. The keyhole is an exact match for the one on the door. Of course it is. I feel like I'm dreaming. This whole room feels sacred. The air is so still and heavy. My footsteps are the only sound. It feels wrong to be here, like I'm trespassing. But the note said, "The legacy is now yours." This is my inheritance. Not the house, not the money, this. I approach the chest. It's bigger up close, solid, immovable. I kneel in front of it. The lock is cold. I take the key, the same key, and slide it into the lock. Again, a perfect fit. This time, when I turn it, the sound is different. It's a series of soft, precise clicks, like tumblers in a safe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clicks. And then silence. I take a deep breath. My heart is hammering. This is it. Everything the note promised. Everything I've been wondering about. It has to be in here. What was so important that he built this tomb to hide it? I put my hands on the lid. It's heavy. So heavy. I have to put my whole body into it. With a low groan of wood and metal, the lid starts to lift. The air that escapes smells ancient. It smells of dust, yeah, but also something else. Something metallic, like burned sugar and old pennies. The lid is open. I'm looking inside. And I almost laugh out loud. It's almost empty. There are only 2 things inside, resting on faded black velvet. One is a rolled-up tube of dark, cracked leather, tied with a simple cord. The other is a lantern. It's just a lantern. A rusty, old mining lantern, the kind you'd see in a gold rush movie. It's made of a dark, coppery metal, covered in green and black patina. The glass is thick and cloudy. It's heavy in my hands, way heavier than it should be. As I turn it over, I can feel patterns in the grime. They're not just random rust. They're lines, symbols, faint runes etched into the metal that seem to squirm at the edge of my vision. This is it? The great secret? An old lantern and a roll of leather? I feel this wave of disappointment. I don't know what I was expecting. Gold? Jewels? Some glowing magical thing? Not this. I pick up the leather tube. The cord holding it together is so brittle it basically turns to dust in my fingers. I carefully slide the contents out. It's a map. A big one, drawn on a thick canvas-like material. I unroll it on the stone floor. It's beautiful. A hand-drawn map of the world. But it's not like any map I've ever seen. The continents are there, but they're slightly distorted, like they were drawn from an incredible but not quite perfect memory. There are no countries, no cities, just coastlines, mountains, rivers, and deserts, all in exquisite faded ink. It's a work of art, but it's still just a map. An old, beautiful, and probably priceless map, but a map. This can't be the whole secret. It doesn't make sense. Why the cryptic note? Why the vault? Wait. There's something else in the chest, tucked into a tiny slot on the inside of the lid, almost invisible against the black velvet. It's a book. A small leather-bound journal, no bigger than my hand. The leather is worn smooth. No title. I open it. The pages are filled with my great-grandfather's handwriting. But this isn't his neat academic script. This is cramped, urgent, sometimes barely readable. This is his real journal. The first page is dated over 70 years ago. The entry is short. It has begun. My father passed the burden to me today, as his father did to him. The lantern is cold, the map blank, but the duty is clear. The cycle demands a guardian. The seals hold, but for how long? The first weakens. I must go at once. I pray I am strong enough. The burden passed from father to son. This wasn't just his secret. It's a family legacy. I flip through the pages. They're filled with sketches of bizarre creatures, star charts I don't recognize, and entries that make my blood run cold. He talks about breaches, incursions, things that whisper from the other side of the veil. Then I find an entry from just a few years ago that stops me cold. My cycle ends. My strength fails. I have reinforced the seals, but the erosion is constant. The next guardian will have a harder task. They must be prepared. The map shows the way, but only the lantern can light the path. It must be lit in total darkness, with the map laid bare. Do not fear the shadows it casts, but the light it reveals. For the light does not banish the dark. It gives it form. The light gives it form. What does that even mean? I look at the rusty lantern, then at the empty map. It's a terrifying, insane experiment. But I have to know. I have to see what he saw. I'm taking the lantern and the map back upstairs to the study. His instructions were clear. Total darkness. Okay, I'm in the study. Heavy curtains drawn. I've taped the cracks around the door. It is pitch black in here. I can't even see my own hand in front of my face. My heart is just a frantic drum in the silence. I've laid the map out on his desk. I can hear it rustle in the dark. The lantern is in front of me. I can feel its cold weight. The fuel reservoir was empty, but his journal specified the exact type of oil. A rare whale oil I was shocked to find he still had a can of, hidden away. I filled it. I have a match. Do not fear the shadows it casts, but the light it reveals. My hands are shaking so badly I can barely strike the match. The first one snaps. The second one fizzles out. The third, it catches. A tiny spark in the suffocating dark. I bring it to the lantern's wick. It catches instantly. But the flame, it's not orange or yellow. It's a brilliant, piercing silver white. It doesn't flicker. It's just a solid, unwavering pillar of pale light. It makes no sound. It gives off no heat. The light is cold. It pushes back the darkness, but it creates these impossibly sharp shadows, blacker than the dark they came from. And then I look at the map. Oh my God, it's not empty anymore. Where there was just blank ocean or desert, symbols are now glowing. 5 of them, 5 intricate seals, burning with a soft, sickly green light. They're spread across the globe. One is deep in the Amazon, another in the middle of the Sahara, a third in the icy wastes of Siberia, a fourth on a tiny, unnamed island in the Pacific, and the fifth is in the deepest part of the ocean, a place no human has ever been. They're pulsing, like faint, diseased heartbeats. And as my eyes adjust, I see something else. Around the border of the map, where it was blank, words have appeared, scrawled in my great-grandfather's urgent hand, glowing with the same sick green light. It's a list of rules. I read them aloud, my voice a whisper. Rule 1. Respect the sacred sites. You are not a conqueror. You are a janitor. Disturb the seals only with the proper rituals of warding and renewal. Rule 2. Obey the laws of the land, both seen and unseen. Every location has its own spirits, its own guardians. To trespass against them is to invite ruin. Rule 3. Seal all breaches. What you open, you must close. Completely. Rule 4. Harm no guardians. The ancient structures that house the seals are themselves alive. To damage them is to weaken the lock. Rule 5. Leave no trace. The tools of our trade are not for this world. To leave them behind is to plant a seed of chaos. Rule 6. Carry away the cursed. Any artifact that bleeds from a seal's influence must be removed and contained. And the last one, the one that makes me feel sick. Rule 7. Uphold the cycle. The seals must be reinforced every quarter century. If the cycle is broken, if the guardian fails, the locks will fail, and what they hold back will be free. I'm just staring at the map, at these 5 glowing wounds on the face of the world. My great-grandfather wasn't an adventurer or a treasure hunter. He was a jailer, a warden. And this isn't a map to treasure. It's a map of prisons. Prisons for what? I don't know. The journal just calls them the ancient evil. The outsiders. The ones who wait. He spent his entire life and his entire fortune just going from one to the next, reinforcing them, performing these rituals, keeping these things locked away from us. His journal explains the cycle, every 25 years. A pilgrimage to all 5 seals to renew the wards. His last entry, the one about his strength failing, was written 24 years ago. It's been almost 25 years. The cycle is due, and the guardian is gone. I blow out the lantern. The silver light vanishes, and the seals on the map fade to nothing. The room is plunged back into absolute darkness. But I can still see them, burned into the back of my eyelids. 5 points of sickly green light. This is the inheritance. The key, the chest, the lantern, the map. It wasn't a gift. It was a sentence. A burden passed down my bloodline. He didn't choose me. There's just no one else. I stumble over to the curtains and tear them open. The normal afternoon sun feels like a physical blow. It's too bright, too warm, too real. Everything outside looks the same as it did this morning. People walking their dogs, cars driving by. They have no idea what kind of world they're living in. No idea how thin the walls are, or about the 5-time bombs scattered across the planet. But I know now. This is my job now, my burden, my cycle. I don't know if I can do it. I'm not some reclusive, wealthy archaeologist. I'm just me. But I don't have a choice, do I? The note was clear. The legacy is now yours. To refuse is to doom. Everything. I look at the map, now just an old drawing on the desk. My finger traces a path across the Atlantic, down into the dense green heart of the Amazon rainforest. To the first glowing seal, the first prison. The journal says it's inside a forgotten temple, from a civilization history has no record of. Arthur's last entry on it says the whispers there were getting louder. That's where I have to go first. I have to finish what he started. I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't know these rituals or what I'll face when I get there. All I have are his cryptic journals, a strange lantern, and a map that shows me where the nightmares are sleeping. I'm going to document everything, every step, because if I don't make it back, someone else needs to know. Someone has to understand that the world is so much older and so much more fragile than we believe. And my journey starts now.